Deep in the forest, there was a hidden cottage where a grumpy widow lived with her 2 daughters. The elder daughter, Fanny, was ill-tempered and arrogant. Since she was just like her mother, she was her favorite. Rose, the younger daughter, was kind and beautiful, just like her late father. Because of this, she suffered greatly at the hands of her mother and sister. One day, the mother ordered Rose to fetch water from a well deep in the woods. Rose immediately picked up a bucket and set off. When she reached the well, she leaned over to fill the bucket. Cool splashes of water touched her hands, but she didn't notice an old woman standing nearby, silently watching her. The old woman croaked in a raspy voice, "Listen, girl, I'm very thirsty. Can you give me some water?" Rose was startled and turned to see a frail-looking old woman, but her eyes held a mysterious sparkle. Rose remembered her mother was waiting for her, and that being late would anger her. Still, her heart wouldn't let her ignore a thirsty stranger. "No problem, I'll give you water," Rose said with a gentle smile and filled a jug, handing it to the woman. The old woman drank gratefully, then smiled and said, "Dear child, for your kindness, I'll give you a blessing. From now on, every time you speak, precious jewels will fall from your mouth." With those words, the mysterious old woman disappeared. Rose was surprised but didn't think too much of it. She filled her bucket again and made her way home. When she arrived, it was already late. Her mother scolded her harshly. "What took you so long? I've been waiting forever." Rose, nervous, began to explain what had happened. But as soon as she spoke, sparkling gems, diamonds, rubies, and sapphires fell from her lips. Her mother blinked in disbelief. Instantly, her anger turned into joy, and her eyes sparkled with greed. This gift should benefit Fanny as well, she thought. She handed Fanny a water jug and ordered her to go to the forest, find the same well, and treat the old woman kindly if she saw her. Fanny nodded, pretending to agree, but there was no kindness or warmth on her face. When Fanny reached the well, she began filling the bucket quickly, wanting to get it over with. Suddenly, the same old woman appeared. Her wrinkled eyes gleamed once again. "Daughter, I'm very thirsty. Could you give me some water?" she asked in a weak voice. Fanny scowled at her and snapped, "If you're thirsty, draw the water yourself. I don't have time to serve you." With that, she picked up her jug and stormed off. The old woman, now visibly angry, raised her hands and said, "You arrogant girl, for your rudeness, you'll be cursed. From now on, every time you speak, ugly frogs will fall from your mouth." The woman was no ordinary old lady, she was a fairy in disguise who tested people's hearts. When Fanny returned home, her mother was anxiously waiting. "What took you so long?" she asked irritably. Fanny raised her head and began to speak. But before she could finish, frogs began leaping from her mouth. Chaos broke out in the house as the frogs bounced around. Her mother screamed in horror, "What is this nightmare?" Then she turned furiously toward Rose and shouted, "This is all your fault. Get out of my house. I can't keep you here anymore." Rose, heartbroken and confused, didn't argue. With tears in her eyes, she quietly left and wandered into the forest. Alone and scared, she had nowhere to go. As the evening sun cast a golden glow over the forest, a rider on horseback appeared in the distance. He wasn't just any man, he was a prince with kind eyes and a curious expression. "What are you doing out here all alone?" the prince asked gently as he dismounted his horse. Rose softly began to tell her story, and as soon as she spoke, shining jewels began falling from her mouth, diamonds, rubies, and sapphires. The prince watched in amazement. A girl so kind and rare, whose words turned into treasure, instantly won his heart. "Come with me to the palace," he said with warmth. "I don't want to lose someone as pure-hearted as you." Rose smiled and nodded. The prince took her to the palace, and soon after, they were married in a grand celebration. From that day on, Rose and the prince lived happily, surrounded by love and joy.